I'm 77 years old, and what I learned after 2 months in a nursing home. That's what I told myself on the morning I moved into Willow Creek Retirement Community. 2 months of rehab after a fall that left me with a fractured hip. At 77, I thought I was just going there to rest, recover, and return home. But instead, those 2 months gave me something far more valuable than physical healing. They gave me perspective. What I didn't expect was how deeply this experience would change me. In the quiet halls of that nursing home, surrounded by people whose stories were etched in wrinkles and whispered regrets, I found lessons about life that no book could teach me. This is not just my story. It's for everyone who has ever looked at aging with fear or indifference. Whether you're 25 or 95, these are truths we all need to hear before time runs out. Let me take you through those 2 months and the 7 life-changing lessons I learned. Loneliness is the worst disease of old age. Cloud with rain, a quiet room, a louder silence. The first week in the nursing home felt surreal. The walls were white, the lighting too bright, and the silence deafening. I had always imagined places like this as cheerful havens where seniors played bingo, shared cookies, and laughed over coffee. But reality was different. For many, it was a place of waiting, not for death, but for someone to remember they still existed. There was a woman named Ruth, 83, who sat across from me during meals every day. She never spoke much, just smiled politely. One evening, I asked her if her family visited often. Her eyes dropped, and she said softly, "Not since my daughter remarried and moved to Florida." That was 5 years ago. 5 years. No phone call. No letter. Just silence. Another man, Henry, used to sit by the window every afternoon, staring outside like he was expecting someone. He once told me he used to own a hardware store downtown. Now, he lived off Social Security and Medicaid, and hadn't seen his sons in over a decade. "They think I'm better off here," he said. "But they don't visit to find out if I'm happy." Brain scientific insight. Loneliness is killing us. According to a 2023 study by the National Academy of Sciences, chronic loneliness among seniors increases the risk of heart disease, cognitive decline, and even early death. In fact, being socially isolated is as harmful to health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Yet, in America today, nearly 1/3 of adults aged 65 and older live alone. And while technology connects us globally, it often disconnects us locally. Younger generations text more than they talk. We video chat, but rarely visit. We post birthdays on Facebook, but forget to pick up the phone. Speech balloon reflections from my own life. When I was younger, I spent most of my time chasing success. I worked long hours, climbed the corporate ladder, bought nice things. I thought building a career meant building a life. But looking back, I realized I built a house without a home. If I could go back, I'd spend less time climbing and more time connecting. I'd make sure the people I loved knew exactly how much they meant to me. Because now, sitting in a room filled with strangers, I understand that relationships aren't just important. They are everything. Red Heart emotional call to action. To anyone reading this, whether you're 30 or 70, ask yourself this. Who have you been meaning to call? Who have you ignored because you've been busy? Who needs to hear your voice? Don't wait until they're gone to realize how much they mattered. Book's real-life example, Edna's story. Edna was 89 and lived in room 214. Every Friday, a young woman came to visit her granddaughter, Lily. They held hands, talked about old times, and sometimes just sat in silence together. Edna always lit up when Lily walked in. Her face glowed, her posture straightened, and her laughter returned. One day, I asked Lily why she made the trip every week. She smiled and said, "Because she raised me. When Mom passed away, Grandma stepped in. I owe her everything." Lily wasn't rich. She worked 2 jobs and drove an hour each way. But to Edna, she was the richest gift in the world. Puzzle piece deep dive. Why do people get left behind? It's easy to judge families who stop visiting, but the truth is often more complicated. Sometimes, adult children are overwhelmed with their own lives, jobs, kids, financial stress. Sometimes, guilt keeps them away. They feel ashamed they can't do more. Or maybe they're afraid to see their parents aging, because it reminds them of their own mortality. But whatever the reason, the result is the same: isolation. Direct hit practical advice. How to stay connected. Here's what I learned from living in that nursing home. Call regularly, even if it's short. Just hearing a familiar voice can be enough. Write letters. Seniors love holding something real, tangible, personal. Visit in person when possible. You don't have to stay for hours. Just showing up matters. Listen more than you speak. Let them share their stories. It gives purpose to their past. Celebrate small moments. Birthdays, holidays, even just sharing a meal together. These are the things they'll remember. Glowing star final thought. In the end, none of us wants to be remembered only in photos or eulogies. We want to be seen, heard, and loved while we're still here. So reach out. Say hello. Make a call. Visit. Be present. Because the worst kind of poverty isn't financial. It's emotional. And the best medicine for loneliness? Love. Health is the most precious thing money can't buy. Money bag. I had it all, but not my health. There was a man in my wing named Carl. He was 79 and used to be a real estate mogul. He owned over a dozen properties across 3 states, had a vintage Rolls-Royce in storage, and once took his family on a private jet to Paris. Now, he sat in a wheelchair with a feeding tube in his nose, unable to walk, talk clearly, or even sit up without help. One day, I asked him, "Carl, if you could go back and do it all over again, would you still chase wealth like that?" He looked at me, eyes glassy, voice barely above a whisper. Not for a second. Then he added, almost painfully, "I'd trade every dollar I ever made, just to feel strong again." Brain scientific insight. Wealth is not equal to well-being. A 2021 Harvard study followed more than 80,000 adults over 65 and found that while income plays a role in quality of life, health was the single most important factor in long-term happiness among seniors. Even more interesting, the same study showed that after a certain point, roughly $75,000 per year, additional income didn't significantly increase life satisfaction. But good health did, every time. Yet how many of us spend our lives chasing money, thinking it will bring security, only to realize too late that what we really needed was vitality? Speech balloon personal reflections. What I would do differently. When I was younger, I treated my body like a machine. Burnout wasn't a warning, it was a badge of honor. I skipped meals, worked 14-hour days, drank too much coffee, and slept too little. I thought I was building a future. In reality, I was burning down the house I planned to live in. If I could turn back time, I'd have eaten slower and healthier, slept more and worried less, said no more often to stress, to toxic jobs, to people who drain my energy, taken walks instead of skipping exercise, listened to my body when it whispered before it screamed. Because now, as I watch Carl struggle to lift a spoon, I see a reflection of where I might end up if I don't start making better choices today. Red Heart emotional call to action. Ask yourself this. Am I living in a way that supports my body, or am I slowly breaking it down? We think we'll always have tomorrow to start eating better, to finally quit smoking, to get that checkup we've been putting off. But what if there is no tomorrow? What if the moment your body breaks is the moment your dreams stop? Book's real-life example, Margaret's second chance. Margaret was 72 when she had a heart attack. She survived, but barely. Her doctor told her she had 2 paths: change everything or prepare to say goodbye. She chose change. She started walking every morning, swapped fried chicken for grilled fish, learned yoga from YouTube, and joined a local senior fitness group. A year later, she was stronger than she'd been in decades. "I never thought I'd dance again," she told me one afternoon. "But last week, I danced with my grandson at his wedding." That story stuck with me. Because here's the truth. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to care enough to try. Puzzle piece deep dive. Why we ignore our health until it's too late. Why do so many of us neglect our bodies until something goes wrong? Some reasons include fear. Facing health problems can be scary. Denial. It won't happen to me. Habit. Old routines are hard to break, even when they're killing us. Priorities. We focus on work, kids, bills, and forget about ourselves. Lack of support. Sometimes, we need someone to walk beside us, and we don't ask. But the saddest reason? We think we have time. And then, suddenly, we don't. Direct hit practical advice. Start small, stay consistent. Here's what I've learned from watching others, and myself. Move daily. Even a 10-minute walk counts. Eat real food. Less processed, more plants. Sleep well. Aim for 7 to 8 hours. Reduce stress. Meditate. Pray. Journal. Garden. Find your peace. Get regular checkups. Early detection saves lives. Stay connected. Social ties improve mental and physical health. Glowing star final thought. Money fades. Fame fades. But health? Health is the only thing that lets you enjoy anything else. So take care of your body, not because you fear death, but because you love life. Because when you wake up in the morning and your body feels good, your mind follows. And that's the richest feeling of all. Material possessions lose their meaning over time. House with garden. I used to have everything. Now I have nothing. When I moved into the nursing home, I had to downsize. My big house with 3 bedrooms, a full basement, and an attic filled with decades of memories was packed into just 2 suitcases. As I looked around my new room, bare walls, a small bed, a chair, and a tiny dresser, I realized something shocking. I didn't miss any of it. Not the antique furniture. Not the collection of vintage watches. Not even the framed photos that used to hang in every hallway. None of it mattered anymore. What did matter? The stories behind those objects. The people who were part of them. The moments we shared together. That's when it hit me. We spend our whole lives accumulating things, only to leave them behind. Speech balloon reflections from my own life. I remember being proud of what I owned. Proud of my car, my suits, my home office. I thought they said something about who I was. That success meant having more. But now, sitting in a plain white room, I see how empty that kind of pride really is. If I could go back, I wouldn't have spent so much time shopping for stuff. I would have spent more time creating moments. More time laughing with friends. More time holding hands with my wife. More time watching my kids grow up. Not just providing for them, but being there for them. Because when you're old, no one asks what kind of car you drove. They ask if you were loved, and if you loved well. Red Heart emotional call to action. Let me ask you, what do you own that you think defines you? What are you saving for someday? What are you collecting instead of connecting? You don't need a bigger house to live a fuller life. You need deeper relationships. You need joy, purpose, meaning. And none of those come wrapped in paper or stored in a garage. Book's real-life example, George's final wish. George was 86 and lived down the hall from me. He had been a professor at a local university, very respected, very private. His room was sparse, just a few books and a photo of his late wife. One day, he told me, "I gave away everything before I came here. Even your wedding ring." I asked. He smiled. "Especially that. I gave it to my daughter. She wears it on a chain now. That way, she always carries a piece of us with her." Then he added quietly, "You know what I wish I'd kept instead?" "What?" "My voice. My stories. My laughter. Those are the things I want her to remember." Brain scientific insight. The psychology of attachment. According to research published in the Journal of Consumer Research, material possessions can bring short-term happiness, especially when they symbolize achievement or identity. But over time, this happiness fades, a phenomenon called hedonic adaptation. In contrast, experiences and human connections create long-lasting emotional imprints. They become part of our personal narrative. They shape how we see ourselves and how others remember us. So while buying that new watch might make you feel good for a week, sharing a meal with someone you love can warm your heart for years. Puzzle piece deep dive. Why we cling to things. Why do we place so much value on material things? Status. We equate wealth with worth. Control. In a world full of uncertainty, owning things gives us a sense of stability. Fear. We worry about not having enough. Habit. It's easier to buy than to build real connection. Culture. Our society glorifies consumption. Ads tell us we're not complete without the next upgrade. But deep down, we all know the truth. Nothing you can hold will ever fill the space inside you that only love can reach. Direct hit practical advice. Let go of the stuff. Hold on to the moments. Here's what I've learned, and what I hope you'll consider. Give more. Donate clothes, tools, furniture. Someone else can use them, and you'll feel lighter. Spend on experiences. Travel, learn, laugh, explore. These are the things you'll carry with you forever. Declutter mindfully. Every item you own should either serve a purpose or bring you joy. If it does neither, let it go. Create memories intentionally. Plan trips, take photos, write letters, cook meals together. Teach the next generation. Pass down values, not just valuables. Your legacy isn't in what you leave behind, but in how you lived. Glowing star final thought. At the end of our lives, we don't reflect on what we owned. We reflect on who we loved. On the times we laughed until we cried. On the hands we held. On the hearts we touched. So as you walk through your days, ask yourself, am I living in a way that will be remembered? Am I giving more than I'm getting? Am I choosing things, or am I choosing people? Because someday, all you'll have left are your memories. Make sure they're worth keeping.